Welcome back to the game room where there's 6 characters, 5 arenas, 1 goal to smash the others to smithereens. I'm JB, with me as always, Patman.
Good evening.
Crisco.
Waza. I think I did that one already.
Probably. Yeah.
Mikey.
My microphone smells funny.
Are you for real?
Dead serious.
So this week we got Ace Combat 7 news. We got a Nintendo patent, and there's some Fallout 4 news, and then we're going to get into a little bit of Battlefront, which we finally got a chance to sit down and play, because, you know, Fallout 4.
A month after it came out.
Look,
Fallout 4 has consumed me.
it does that to you. I mean, because that's what RPGs do, you know? See what I did there?
I do see that.
So, gentlemen, who's going first?
Is anybody else as excited about Ace Combat as I am?
I don't think anybody could be as excited about it
That's
as
true.
you are.
No.
That's a bummer. That's a bummer.
I want to be.
So, the
Excite me,
launch,
Patman.
the launch trailer for Ace Combat 7. You guys seen it? I know Chris saw it.
Yes.
I
But-
saw it.
Long story short, Ace Combat's back, and it's not using stupid real-world countries and politics, and you're not fighting in the middle of Africa anymore.
Stupid real world.
Stupid real world. So Ace Combat, for anybody who's not in the know, is just Namco Bandai's arcade flight action game where you pilot these planes that have impossibly large payloads, and you're just it's you versus the world pretty much. And it's epic, it's great, I love it. But the series has kind of taken a nosedive in the last couple of years because they're trying to use real world like countries and conflicts to try and make it edgier, maybe. I don't know what the specific reason for it is. But the new Ace Combat that's coming out to PS4, going back to the original universe, called Strange Reel, which makes me happy. The launch trailer came out earlier this week. Showed the emblems from old countries from older games. So we don't know anything about the story, but assuming that the trailer is to be believed, Osea is going to be fighting Eurasia, which means nothing to anybody at this table, but these are 2 well-established nations from previous games, Ace Combat 5 and 6. They're going to be going at it.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, I mean, those are just 2 countries that have, like, just ideologies, and it's more of like a religious war that we shouldn't get involved in because it's never going to be solved, and it's just a war that's going to continue to rage on. You know what I mean?
No. Long story short, the Ace Combat looks like it's going to be back. It looks gorgeous. Apparently, the trailer footage is in-engine. That's what
Really?
they say.
That
We
is
can
impressive.
hope. I mean,
So if that's what it is, for whatever reason in the trailer, there's somebody on like a big platform, and on the top of this impossibly tall tower, and they just jump off for some reason.
was that in fact a tower? I assumed.
Yeah,
was
no,
some
it,
sort of.
no, it was the whole thing was straight
Yeah,
up.
it was a stationary, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
None of that makes sense. But they brought back the gigantic aircraft carrier plane from, I think that was Ace Combat. Yeah, it was Ace Combat 6.
The one that had like 600 UAVs in it.
Yeah. So it's going to be as ridiculous as it used to be, which makes me happy. Like when they tried to ground it and make it very Call of Duty-y is when the game kind of took a nosedive. So back to form for Ace Combat. I don't know if they have an announced date yet for release, but I would guess sometime next year.
So that was just weird. I made a mention that I said it was impressive that the trailer was in-game engine. And honestly, I don't know if it is impressive anymore because of what the Xbox One and PS4 can do. I need you guys to tell me because you have played more PS4 games and Xbox One games than I have.
They've always made planes really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've always pushed the hardware to the limit with these Ace Combat games. But what's especially nice about this one, apparently it's going to have VR support
Yes.
with the PlayStation 4.
That's the other part of the big news.
And I might be the only guy who cares about it, but when you're in the plane, I play from the cockpit every time.
Of course.
And you can use you used to be able to use one of the sticks to kind of look over your shoulder or look around your cockpit. If I can do that oh man, it's gonna be It's gonna be Top Gun it'll be Top Gun every day. It's gonna be like, hey, right behind.
That's one of the games. I'm sorry, Chris.
Call me Merlin.
That's one of the games where I could really see VR support being a real, what's the word I'm looking for?
Compliment.
Thank you. A real compliment to the game you're playing.
I would be especially interested to see if they actually incorporate at least pseudo real world technology into that. Insofar as being able to look at an opponent like over your shoulder and get a lock. That's something that we currently have the ability to do.
Is that in like the 35s or the 22s?
We actually have that in 15s and 16s right now.
Man.
Gentlemen, I'm
You
going
guys
to
are
need
going
you
to the
guys
military
to
talk there, yeah.
explain
This side of the table doesn't get this.
what exactly you just said.
All right, so when fighter pilots are in the cockpit, they have headgear. I'm sure everybody's aware.
Sure.
But
They're called helmets.
anyway,
Whoa, what are helmets?
built into these is some amount of HUD information and things like that already. But right now in our F-15 and F-16 fighters, just specific models of jets, they have the capacity to be able to look over their shoulder and whatever they get in their visor within a certain range of looking, which,
Classified.
yes, whatever they can see in that sort of range, they can lock a missile and fire straight forward, and it will, no shit, spin around and hit the enemy behind them.
That's pretty neat.
So basically, the visor then is it like if you can actually.
It's its own little targeting HUD.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no, it's.
And it's, obviously the range being classified is completely reasonable, but
Yes.
Yes.
Look, we're not into giving away government secrets here, okay? Like we
Yeah,
can't.
so without getting into things that I can't talk about, that's about as much as I can say about that.
that's still really interesting.
So I that's technology that I would really be interested to see, especially with them providing VR support. If you're gonna have it strapped to your head anyway, it would be amazing.
That
if you could pull
that
off.
would break that game. It would make that game so much easier to play, but so much better.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And you know what game could really benefit from this? Another flight game that could really benefit from this?
Star Fox.
Star Fox. So I can look over my shoulder and be like, God damn it, Slippy! Just as freaking.
Help me, Fox!
Look, I'm telling you, man.
He's so useless.
It would save the franchise.
Yeah, but
Nothing can say that.
you know what Nintendo has to say about that?
No.
Can't let you do that, Star Fox.
Very nice.
So the last flight sim game that I played was probably G-Luck
Nice.
for the Sega Genesis.
Nice.
So I'm interested. If you're telling me it's going to get back to being a little bit more arcadey and a little less
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty-y, as you put it.
The ending scene of Ace Combat Assault Horizon, I think it was called. It's actually they make you hit a button for a QuickTime event for your pilot to throw his fist up in the air in celebration. Like it's super bro-tastic.
I like that a lot.
And it's just disappointing. Like they had no need to go there. Like they had a good thing going for them.
But do they have a shirtless volleyball scene?
I would probably respect them a little bit more if they did. But they, what time is it? I gotta go to my car.
Now I just want a shirtless volleyball scene in every video game.
Okay.
Mario could definitely use it. I think it'd make every game just a little bit better.
Do you want to see Mario characters, like male Mario characters, shirtless
Even
volleyball?
better, yeah.
Like, they're all pudgy and.
I
It'd be
mean-
like me playing volleyball shirtless. Do you want to see that?
I mean, I'm sure there's somebody
Yes.
that does.
Oh, Pat does.
There you go.
Alright. Pat, you and me, shirtless volleyball.
We've gone to a weird place in this podcast already. We're like 5 minutes in.
I feel like we've veered way too far off track.
I believe this is where I'm supposed to step up and then be like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's you.
haha, segue, something. Crisco, you had some Nintendo news for us? Haha.
Yes.
Before Chris gets into that, I have to compliment your mocking your own segues while giving it at the same time. That was nice.
Oh, thank you. I'll give it to you, all right.
He's
I bet
satiring
you
his
will.
his own thing. It's good.
It is good.
Right. Anyway, Nintendo news. So, back in June, apparently, Nintendo filed a patent for a new model of controller, and this has just come to light. And there's a lot of speculation right now, and I personally believe that this speculation is accurate, that this is going to be a model, if not the only model of controller for the upcoming NX console. And by all appearances, based on the drawing that was provided in the patent, it looks a lot like the original concept PS3 like boomerang style controller.
Okay.
Except it's a little flatter up top, and it's just got 2 joysticks right on the sides with a touchscreen LED panel in the middle. So the thought right now is that you're going to have, the standard clickable thumbsticks on either side, but you'll have contextual buttons in the middle. So you'll have a touchscreen with different buttons at different times. And I could really see Nintendo getting a lot of mileage out of a controller like that. It would give them the ability to not only customize the buttons that you get from game to game, so that you wouldn't have to spend so much time sort of including help menus on this and that, on what button does what, when you can just label it, punch, kick, throw, jump, whatever you need to do. And then it'll be a lot quicker and easier for players to learn these buttons. And then if they need to do something specific in context, one button can, no kidding, change to something else on the controller. And all in all, it looks like something that is just right down Nintendo's alley to throw out there as a controller. And there's a lot of sort of, yes, that's definitely going to be it, no, that's not it. I think that it will almost certainly be, like I said, at least a controller, even if it's not the only controller that's available for the NX when it launches.
My only thing about that is Nintendo, not just Nintendo, all video game companies, patent stuff all the time. Just because they patent it doesn't mean they're going to use it. And like you said, I like the idea, and I do hope they go with something like that. I'm not willing to put too much faith into it yet. It's just a patent.
Sure, it's just a patent, but we're also just about a year away from when Nintendo has said they're going to be launching the NX.
Right.
If they continue to come up with new controller designs at this point, it will either A, end up with something that's just a really poorly executed controller, or B, which is in my mind a much more likely scenario, a more aftermarket style controller, something that launches later on, that's more of an add-on. Like you want to play these games in this fashion, well, we've got a controller for you that can do that.
I see what you mean.
Like with the Wii and the Wii U, they've launched different kinds of controllers later on. Like they released the Smash Pad when Smash 4 came out. They got the adapter for the GameCube controllers. They've done all sorts of stuff with their last few consoles. I don't see any reason they couldn't do that with the NX. But right now, I would expect this will be, if not exactly, very close to what we see with a finished product on the NX.
So one thing Nintendo loves is dongles and accessories.
Oh, yes.
And multiple controllers and more reasons for you to spend money on their products.
Well, yeah, because why would you play a game with this controller when you could play a game with this controller and buy this extra to go with it?
Which is exactly why I think they're going to be releasing different ones. Now, the sketch that I saw didn't include an aerial or underneath view or any it was just a front down, so I have no idea what the rest
Did that look
is it not
what
it?
the rest is gonna look like.
I don't know why you're laughing. Is that not it?
I'm playing along with what I'm doing. Anybody listening or didn't catch, I just brought up more images of the patented controller. We'll throw a link in the description or something to these pictures, but yeah, everything looks really weird.
Everything looks really weird.
Yeah. I mean,
Very well.
It's as he described, but like in the patent filing, you can see.
Well, the first thing I saw looked like
It's
a
an
more
iguana.
dinosaurized Yoshi.
Yeah, it looks like an iguana, but it looks like an image that's changing on the face of the controller.
Right.
And it's obviously changing as the game is going on. And I don't know what they're actually... Because there's there are 2 buttons that you can press.
That can't be it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what the patent shows.
Yeah,
but
this is what they filed.
Well, the patent doesn't mean they can't tweak it some.
Well, no, and that doesn't mean that that's what's going to be the final controller. But
Right.
parts of it, like contextual button pressing based on...
You see this?
Yeah. That's
I don't-
confused?
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
I don't like the full screen image like that. I didn't see that on what I was looking at previously.
Yeah, when you put the video up, put a link into this article. So I mean, it's just crazy looking.
Like I expected a more sort of squared off version. What this looks like is the whole face of it.
Yeah.
Is.
And then on the next picture, I see you've got more traditional button layout here.
Right,
That
and that's
looks like
those are the contextual buttons that they're talking about, because you've got the thumbsticks and the shoulder buttons that are built in.
And did you see this where it looks like it snapped out of the boomerang?
I hadn't.
Yeah, that's not going to be the final controller, but they've got a few interesting ideas to say the least.
Right.
You're here first, folks. Pat said that's not going to be the final controller.
I don't expect it'll be exactly this, but like I said, very close to
Right.
what they at least launch it with.
Now,
Those images are going to go up on the screen.
what about this? Do you remember the Dreamcast had the VMU? They had a little screen inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if, let's say, it's just like that, where you've got an image, kind of like the gamepad,
Okay.
where you've got something that correlates in your controller, but then you can take it out of the controller and use it as like a secondary screen for something else, and just play with the boomerang, or like there's a lot of different ways to go with that. I don't know if I like any of them, but
Well, I could see myself really liking it as I understood it before. I don't know about having the whole thing be a screen like this. I could see like throwing some buttons around it that changed as you went on, but by all appearances it looks like they're integrating actual game images off to the side of the thumbsticks, which is a problem in my eyes because you could have large portions of your hand in the way of what's going on the screen.
especially if you have ham hands,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a big problem.
especially for you.
Yeah. I'm a clumsy man.
I'm a clumsy man.
My brain went through like 4 words and none of them seemed right, so I just.
That was a much less colorful word than I was expecting.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. Yeah.
In his head, he's just going, "Don't say fuck, don't say fuck."
And then Pac-Man says it twice. Nice.
We have no opposition to cursing here.
And yet you stopped yourself from doing it anyway.
Eh.
So that's our Nintendo news for the week. Right guy will be happy.
Very weird.
That's for you, Reggae.
That's for you, right guy. Mikey, tell me about Fallout 4.
Some more.
Some more, right? We haven't talked about it enough on this podcast. No, there's only like 2 little stories I read that I wanted to bring up because I thought one was funny and one was interesting. The funny one is this guy, I don't know his name, pirated a copy of Fallout 4. There was some sort of virus or malware, something in this pirated copy that stole his bitcoins. And I don't know the exchange rate for bitcoins exactly, I don't deal with them, but it was 4.88 bitcoins stolen, and that amounted to over $1,700.
I don't understand how the game stole bitcoins. Isn't bitcoins somehow an unrelated thing to the game? How is it tied to the game?
Well, to people
It
who
was
use
whatever.
Bitcoin, go on.
It was whatever malware was attached to this specific file that he downloaded.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes more sense
you
now.
store bitcoins like you do computer files. Like they're on a hard drive. Like they're not physical. Like you get it, but
Wow. I don't know if that should insult me or if Pac-Man just thinks I'm that dumb. Like, I'm not really sure which one it
You
is.
see, bit suggests.
Well, I mean,
coins means money.
Oh, man. Okay, anyway, please.
So
Tell
anyway, he went on forums asking about this. He's like, "Hey, my bitcoins are stolen. Can anybody help and stuff?" And it was like, "Well, we noticed Fallout 4 comes out like at the same time you're talking about this. Did you pirate a copy?" He's like, "Yes." And then everybody was just like, "Serves you right." No sympathy was given to this man.
Yeah, no.
That was the most expensive copy
Right.
of Fallout 4 ever
I
purchased.
say man, it could have been a woman. I don't know, but my point is, yeah, it was ridiculous and kind of funny. I have no sympathy for him.
I agree.
I
He
will.
deserves everything he gets.
I will ask though, and I will admit, I've pirated games in my day. Have you, gentlemen?
No.
Yes.
yes. But in general, I'm anti-piracy. The only reason that I pirate anything is the same reason that the vast majority of people that do so pirate things, and that's availability.
Right.
If something is prohibitively difficult to get your hands on for one reason or another, in particular because it doesn't exist anymore, doesn't get made, like whatever, things like that, it gets much more difficult to justify paying something ridiculous to get your hands on something that just doesn't get produced anymore.
I see what you mean. I pirated games in my younger days. Actually, I did until a friend of mine came to me. He's like, hey man, I just got a letter from my internet company saying, like, I know you're downloading games, knock that shit off. And then I got scared into like, oh man, I don't want any repercussions here. So I never illegally downloaded another game again.
Yeah, in my early days of journalism, when I was reviewing some PC games, because I couldn't get review copies because I was a college kid, I would get advanced copies that would show up on the internet.
Nice.
And then try and play them so I could get reviews out the week they came out in the school paper. So that's why I pirated. Yar.
So the punchline is the Game Room guys are all filthy pirates except for JB, who is squeaky clean.
He's an angel. Draw a little halo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, put that in it too.
What else you got for me?
The other Fallout story is the first patch came out, the first big patch for PC and PS4 now. Xbox One assumingly soon, but on the PC version it blocked mods. Nexus mods for sure. I don't know about others. Nexus is really the only one that
it depended on what the mod itself required. Like if it was a simple replacer, I think. Like if it wasn't part of the INI hack that you had to put in,
right,
then it stayed in.
Yeah.
But a lot of the textures and stuff ended up getting broken.
So basically, when the launcher came up, you couldn't use those new mods. There was a workaround for it, found almost immediately, and then also like within the next day or so, Nexus themselves were like, "Hey, we updated our mod manager. Don't even worry about that." It took them almost no time at all to be like, "Screw you, Bethesda. We're getting our mods out."
Well, Never underestimate the mod community.
Right? I mean, what else are they doing? I mean, they're all in their mom's basement anyway.
Oh. Shots fired.
Dang. I'm just kidding. They make wonderful product.
They do. I mean, some of them are a little questionable, but for the most part, they do good work. My question is, but on Bethesda's part, was this intentional or not? Do you think they were intentionally trying to block, specifically Nexus, because they're the most popular? Or do you think they were, it was just an oversight?
Why comes to my mind. Like, why? Like,
my first thought is...
out of the blue?
Yeah, because they've been
sense.
supporting mods for a while.
Right.
And, I don't know, it was just a question. It was a question that was put up. It was a question that was asked. And
do you guys remember when they were trying to charge for mods, or not charge?
Yeah, Skyrim. Yeah, they were charging.
Skyrim,
it was voluntary charging. It was very murky.
Bethesda ended up getting in touch with the moderators and the owners of the Nexus to try and work out like how that model would work and how the money would change hands and stuff like that. So they're well aware of the Nexus. They know who they are, what they do, like they get it. I don't think that they would not try to spurn the audience of the Nexus for any real reason. My guess is that they just wanted to patch everything, and they knew modders would figure it out eventually to get around it.
That probably makes the most logical sense, yeah.
Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Well, the other possibility, you guys near Occam's razor, is Bethesda is going to be trying to push their first-party modding out rather than allowing a bunch of the third-party stuff. Because, as I understand it, they're planning to charge for mods through their first-party deal in the first place, especially when it starts coming to consoles and things like that.
Well, that's just not going to work.
It's not going to,
Well,
but that's the goal.
Well, it might work on consoles.
Well, yeah, on Xbox, on Xbox you don't really have a choice, and people on PC
really,
are just going to ignore
will
it.
I really have to pay for mods on my Xbox?
Yes.
Well, then screw it. I'm not going to download mods. I'm that stubborn about it.
Unless you want to avoid your warranty.
Yeah. Well, it's not my Xbox. I want to avoid Pat's warranty
On his $700 Xbox. Which is a huge sore spot for him.
We can stop talking about it. Like right now.
So that's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
I thought there was like 8 more like Fallout 4 news stories.
If you want to talk about Fallout 4,
isn't this the Fallout 4 podcast?
We've had a piece of Fallout 4 on our table every episode.
It's become
since
tradition to
out.
have some sort of Fallout memorabilia.
And my stained glass Vault Boy won't fit in the shot.
Yeah, we tried to make it work. It just wasn't happening.
Blush too much.
Sorry.
So in the past week, Kotaku's Nathan Grayson released a story about how frustrated he is with Battlefront's matchmaking, and we all kind of got to sit down and put some time into it. And just real quick, what are your guys' thoughts
On what specifically?
on the matchmaking itself?
Not good.
Not good. Before I get more into the story.
Can you go into more detail, Pat?
Yes. So yeah, the matchmaking. It seems that one side or the other will always have really, really good players. I can probably count the number of close matches I've been in on one hand.
Okay.
That's not how it's supposed to work. And it's all guys with like, what's the Han Solo blaster called?
Something 44, DL44.
The DL44. Everyone's running around with DL44s. You have to be 25, level 25 to get that. So everybody who's got that's been playing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like everybody on one team will have a DL44.
Everyone else will just have the shitty beginning blaster.
Yeah, and they gotta mix it up. And I understand that, if you're in a party, they're all gonna be on one side, and that might be what's happening, and we're just not seeing it. We haven't seen enough matches. That could be, but after seeing, I mean, you're gonna talk about it, I'm sure, but I've heard nothing but it's one-sided everywhere. It's really bad on PC too, from what I hear, not just on Xbox.
Crisco, I know you were edging your way to the mic.
I was actually gonna throw a little jab at Patman, but he beat me to it anyway. Anyway, so
Well, now I gotta know, what was the jab?
well, it was more continuing the joke because Mike asked if he could do something, and his response was yes, and there was silence, and it was just long enough that I was going to ask if he would.
Yes.
Alright, go on.
Right. So, I don't know that I have a big problem with the matchmaking. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I also know that I've seen us on the giving end of those shellackings
It's
a
happening.
fair number of times
Yeah.
in various games, including Star Wars last night on more than one occasion. So I don't necessarily agree that matchmaking is as heavily broken as many people imply. I would be more inclined to believe that it's parties running together doing their thing. And that I can't really begrudge them. I mean, yes, teams are bigger in this game, so it requires a bigger group to run with a full party. But if you ended up with like 4 or 5 people, you would still have enough to pretty well run a map. That would just be 5 people killing 2 at a time, which is absurdly easy. My biggest problem with the game is spawning. I just despise the spawns. Like, I haven't seen spawns this bad since the days of Black Ops 1. It is horrible. I have, on regular occasions, spawned in the middle of 3 different enemies when the rest of my team is on the other side of the map. Like, I spawn, I see no friends on my radar, turn, and I'm looking at 3 enemies. How shitty do you have to program a spawning algorithm to make that happen?
And look, and you know what? As long as first-person shooters are around, multiplayer first-person shooters, I feel like we are going to forever complain about spawning. I
don't think it's a perfectible thing.
It's possible, but hold on. Before we get too far down this rabbit hole, basically the first couple of things that you guys said about Battlefront is exactly what Nathan wrote about in his Kotaku article. Basically suggesting that it doesn't do a good enough job pairing players, newbies with newbies, for example. Too often, you'll end up with level 5 guys versus level 40 guys, and
right.
The other problem is when he selected the new DLC map, which was, what is it called?
Battle of Jakku.
Yeah, the Battle of Jakku. He wouldn't be able to find a match. It would take him entirely way too long, or this and that. And that's another thing too, that for me, just thinking about it, when you narrow your search like that, if you know it's if you have to satisfy X, Y, and Z in a search, isn't that search going to take longer because you're being that much more specific about it?
Yes and no. Patman and I actually just downloaded the Battle of Jakku stuff after the three of us stopped playing last night. So
It's free.
It is free.
Oh.
So we can't explicitly speak to that, but I can say for sure that if they include everything as opposed to only searching for Battle of Jakku stuff, I don't know exactly how it works.
It's supposed to just add it into the rotation, but I don't think it does. I think it's trying to
search specifically for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
If it just adds that, one would think that it would be easier. If it restricts it to just that, of course it's going to be more difficult because not the entire player base is going to have that yet, and the portion of the player base that does have it, especially since it apparently restricts it to just that, isn't necessarily going to be playing that. So you're going to have an infinitely smaller fraction of players in that specific area than you would overall.
And the other thing too, I just feel like this whole balancing thing, this has been going on since I've been playing freaking Halo Online, like Call of Duty Online. I mean, I've always felt like this has been around, where it just constantly feels like, man, why am I always on the team with like the whole team's made up of level 5 and I'm level 40, and it's like it got to a point where I just couldn't play online by myself anymore because I couldn't play with these randoms because either A, they were bad, or B, they were bad.
When you were playing alone last night, you were sending us messages basically saying, "No, I can't do randoms. You guys have to come with me. I can't do it."
I feel like other games have done it better though. Like in the Call of Duty games, the Scar was like level 8.
Right.
There was always a reasonable weapon at a very low level. And for whatever reason, in Star Wars Battlefront, it feels like it takes forever to level up.
Well, I would also like to address, you mentioned that it's never going to be perfect. Imperfection is one thing, but outright broken and poor is entirely another. Like Pat said,
you can't spawn on thermal detonators.
Yeah, we've seen it done better.
Or proximity mine.
Yeah,
you can't do it.
And it's happened repeatedly. In the same match, I spawned 2 times in the same match within a 10-minute span on top of a thermal imploder.
You clearly can spawn on top of it.
Well, you can. It's just you're gonna have a bad day.
And
you shouldn't.
It seems like if there's immediate danger right there, that's the sort of thing that your spawning algorithm should go, oh, right there. No. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Come on, LucasArts.
None of the maps are so small that you would run out of spots to put a new player.
They're
right.
robust.
You're right.
Yeah, and I mean...
But we're not talking about Nuketown here. Like, Nuketown would make sense. But
right. I mean, even with 20 players, even if every single match was full every time you joined it, which I've yet to see a full 10-on-10 match. I've seen a couple get close and be like 1 or 2 players shy, but I've never looked at the scoreboard and seen 10 on either side. But even if that were the case, I've not seen a map yet that was small enough that you couldn't find somewhere to put someone where they weren't immediately in a line of fire.
Have you guys run into, basically, when you go into a matchmaking, look for a match, you end up just in a lobby completely by yourself, sort of in purgatory? Because that's something that Nathan addresses in the article as well, saying he basically calls it purgatory for matchmaking. It's happened to me once or twice.
It's not for me, but I've been in, what's it called? The Team Deathmatch one? The mode?
Blast.
Yeah, I've only played Blast and the Starfighter modes.
I've only played Blast, and I only played the handful of matches that we played yesterday, so I don't have extensive enough experience with the matchmaking to tell you what the nuances and...
I mean, it's got so many modes that are exclusive. Like, the way the game's set up, it's... You pick from one of like 12 modes or 14 modes. There's a bunch of different modes you can select from. And then you have to have enough players in that lobby, I guess you'd want to call it, or in that group of players wanting to play that mode. Mm-hmm. And then you have to hope that they all find the same lobby and then not leave. Like, sure, there's going to be a couple thousand people playing at once, but waiting to play that, like, it seems like too many modes.
Too many modes?
Yeah.
too much variety is what you're saying?
It's not so much that it's too much variety. There's a lot of little throwaway modes.
Well, and you should be able to, like, say, I want to play Assault on this map. Or, one lobby should be able to choose from different modes instead of being pigeonholed into that one mode.
I see what you mean.
So, like, and I can't remember which game did this, but you could pick, it was one of the Call of Duties, you could pick...
It was Black Ops 2, I think.
Yeah, you could pick Team Deathmatch on this map, or you could pick Capture the Flag on this map, or you could pick, like, you could choose your mode and your map at the same time.
That was either Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 3.
Right.
I think that actually happened in both.
That would help the lobbies populate, though.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, you might not always play the same mode you wanted to play with from the get-go, but you would always have a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his problem in that article.
He's
is
being
that
too specific.
He's just sitting around waiting for games, and it's because people are in very specific modes waiting for games in that specific mode, whereas if you just threw everybody in the pool, you'd get a game quicker. It might not be what you wanted to play that game, but it would rotate to what you wanted eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the Call of Duty games they had it called like I want to say like Fun Pack or something like that, but it would rotate and it would give you like the Halo style map choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it would also come complete with whatever game mode. And even if they gave you 3 or 4 to choose from at the end of a match, you already have like a minute in between matches anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Why not spend part of that minute giving players voting time?
Yeah.
Mikey, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, when I read the article, there was one thing that stuck out in my memory. He was talking about, he went into a heroes versus villains kind of map. I don't know what the particular name of it. It might have been heroes versus villains. But he ended up in a lobby with him and one other person. And they both ended up on the same team. So then about 10 seconds went by and they got a victory screen.
And again, I don't want to make excuses for the game, but I mean that I've seen that happen in multiple multiplayer games. But
that's the thing; it can happen, and nobody really freaks out if it happens here and there.
Sure.
But if it's a repeating noticeable thing, then that's an issue. The other thing is, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The other thing is, I haven't played it, but I watched Chris and Pat play it last night, and it seems like a fairly fun game. My favorite part though was when Pat had a smart rocket, and he went to shoot somebody.
Think about spawns.
And a guy, one of his teammates just ran right in front of him. The rocket exploded right in front of Pat. You see his body flip over.
And I can see his face too. Like I can just.
Pat was not a happy man. I was laughing so hard.
Man,
it made my night. It did.
You're kind of a dick.
I'm a little bit of a dick, but it was It was hilarious.
So. Well, something else too. Like you can tell that DICE is trying to go after a broader audience. I feel like with Battlefront, and what I'm getting at that is the guns, the options with the different guns. It feels like there's very little customization. It feels like there's no customization really when it comes to the guns. And or blasters or lasers or whatever you want to call them, and so it just leaves me wanting really. Like I wish I could like tweak the gun and like do different things.
Or take all the crap scopes off.
Can a guy get an assault rifle, like something with some accuracy beyond 10 feet away?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And you would think lasers would be more accurate than bullets, but not in this game. They're not.
My kingdom for an accurate weapon.
So, basically, the game's got some work. The developer needs to put out a patch or two to really make this a little bit more enjoyable. Because right now, it's kind of a chore to play the game.
Here's my question.
I would call it a chore.
For me, it feels like a chore. It's like, especially when I run in DL44s.
That gun's broken.
That and the little shotgun, which, by the way, both are pretty high level locked.
No, the shotgun's level 9 or 10. I just got it.
How do you have a blaster shotgun? How does that work?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It looks like a little blaster pistol with a giant fucking barrel, and they pull the trigger, and you just see a wall of orange shoot out.
Interesting.
So not really.
My question for you guys, you three being the three that have played in this room, is it worth sticking with? Mr. Miller?
For me, it's... I mean, yeah, because I laid down $60 for it.
Okay. Batman?
I'll play as long as John does.
Crisco?
I will also play as long as John does. And I mean, I enjoy it. I have fun with it. I just think that there are absolutely some pretty glaring flaws that need to be ironed out.
Okay.
Is that all of your questions?
I've got like a whole slew of questions.
Are we allowed to go?
Are we done? Do you want to sit here?
Yes.
Okay.
I
know secretly for like the longest time now you've just been like, John, you can't host.
Look at me.
This needs to be mine.
I'm the
host now. No, but at the end of the day, you know what I really love about this game is that on the face of it, it's
Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. That's what's fun about it. Like man, they nailed the effects. They nailed the sound of this game. Like it is just.
And so you hear Vader talk.
Is it not James Earl
No,
Jones?
it's not. None of the actors did their own voice.
They couldn't even use like sound clips.
No.
That's a shame.
I have one thing to say about the sound effects. Needs more Wilhelm scream.
Well, gentlemen, I've reached the end of what I wanted to talk about. Unless you guys have anything else
About what?
about video games.
Video games.
What are video games again?
Okay, well then with that, I have
Well, no, we got the sweet little Xenoblade Chronicles X out here.
Okay.
I don't know. I played about 10 hours of it so far.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I've played about 10 hours of it. That was the most casual I've put 10 hours into anything I've ever heard anybody ever
Well, it
say.
wasn't like 10 straight hours. It was over like a week of time.
So you're 10 hours in. What do you think of the game so far?
I dig it. I was actually talking to Crisco in the pre-show fist fight about, and I'll keep spoiling it up, but there's a particular character, and there's a particular joke that keeps getting reused. It's not like word for word, but it's the same joke in every cinematic scene that he's in. Every one. And it's not even a good joke.
Is it the kids on the escalator again?
Those kids are on the escalator
Can't believe
again.
the kids on the escalator again.
No.
Oh, okay.
But it's just and every time I see that character in a scene, because I know that joke is coming.
Could you describe the joke? I didn't hear a joke.
I'm sure glad we think we're funny because
We're hilarious.
I get the feeling other people don't laugh at our jokes.
Probably not.
You know what? That's okay, because we laugh when we watch it later.
That's true.
There's one other thing about the dialogue. You can choose the voice your character has, and while it's a silent protagonist, they do talk during battle. And the voice I chose, in retrospect, was a mistake because she makes puns throughout the whole fight. And the one that I thought was most clever at first, but really gets old, is she'll do a move that'll topple the enemy, and before she does it, she'll say, "Topple the morning to you," and then she'll go in. And the first time I laughed, I thought it was funny.
Oh my god.
But hearing that, like, every time she does the move, I don't want to do the move because I know what she'll say.
You don't like puns?
I love puns. I don't like repeated
sound
puns.
like it.
I don't like repeated puns.
I also don't like puns just thrown in my face. They need to be clever.
I thought "topple the morning to you" was kind of clever.
It's
but
debatable that any pun is that clever.
John's face.
What are you
I don't
looking at here?
I don't even know.
Nothing to see here, John.
I don't even know what to do right now.
We've got a man in our room wearing
Embrace it. You gotta embrace the sweet Pip-Boy.
Is that the first time you put that on?
No,
Okay.
no. First time I put it on camera.
So anyway, that's what I have to say about Xenoblade. Otherwise, story's fine, characters are fine, missions are fine.
Should I play it?
Are we saying fine or like fine?
Or double fine?
Double fine. Just fine. They're okay. A lot of gather missions. I don't like that. Like,
Yeah, but that was a thing in the first Xenoblade too.
and I didn't like them then either because they don't tell you where. Like, they give you the continent, but they don't give you any more than that. Like, there's one where I have to pick up 3 ZZ rabbits, and I've been playing for 10 hours and I have yet to pick up a single one.
That was one of my biggest gripes about the first Xenoblade.
Yeah, it
Primarily
continues in this
because
one.
they had the little collectible materials that were just orbs.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you
this
could
one
run
little
through
crystals.
right, but you could run through an area and find 100 of them and not get the one you wanted because they were random,
Yeah,
and it made no sense.
it continues in this game. That's probably my biggest gripe about this game is those gather missions.
How long do you have to go through the game before you can get a robot?
Give or take 30 hours.
That's
Aw.
Jesus.
stupid.
No,
You don't get a robot for that
Pass.
long. Let me
Nope.
let me get this straight. You see the front of my box where it has a sweet giant robot?
No.
Well, I realize you don't.
Every review I've seen of the game that have played that long of it, do not complain about this. They say it takes about 30 hours, but there are exactly 0 complaints about that.
Yeah, but they didn't buy the game based on the cover having a robot on it.
Well, that's not my problem.
That is totally my problem.
I bought the game based on it being named Xenoblade.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly why I bought it.
But I'm still perturbed by the fact that it will take me 30 hours to get my hands on that sweet robot.
They go by fast, man. I don't know.
Do they also grow up so fast?
No.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
Cool.
I thought so.
What should the outro be? Gotcha.
Oh!
What's wrong, John?
I don't even
He
know.
was just listening to his thunder get swiped.
He just spaced out for like a. He's like, oh, Xenoblade, I'm out.
I don't even know what's going on.
New intro, new mics, new
Should
outro.
we have a new outro?
I mean, how about
Your
it's
brain went to crap there.
it's dangerous to podcast alone. Take these friends with you.
That's too similar to the old one.
Was a variation.
We need something new.
High fives.
Something fresh.
I just want it to end right there.
High five.
That was a poor high five.
It's
I want
a bad
everything.
angle. It's a bad angle.
It is a bad angle. I'm too short.